Today marks 1673 day of daily lessons, daily reflections. And today I want to speak about the basics, but the foundational things to really live a more meaningful, better life, more fulfilled, more peaceful life. But I don't guarantee that this will be not uncomfortable. It probably will be much more uncomfortable. It's such an interesting thing that when you really sacrifice your comfort and you really do the things that really matter, at that moment life becomes easier. Even though that you do something that is extremely uncomfortable. So today is I will share seven things that foundational things that we always need to get back to because I think it's easy to really learn and learn and learn and learn and learn and because of that knowledge that we gather we forget to really go back to the basics. Today it'll be just going back to the basic understanding. Okay, what are the foundational things? So seven things, foundational things. So number one is stop self-betrayal. And again, this is a question when sometimes you know that something is not right in your life, but you are hoping that everything is okay. That hope leads to destruction. That is self betrayal. That means that it says with self betrayal, we reduce our self trust, self confidence, self courage, self belief, motivation disappears. All are just going down because of that. But and there's so many things that could be self betrayal, abandoning goals because of comfort, staying in wrong relationships, staying in the wrong job, staying in the wrong environment, saying yes when you mean no. All those things are really self betrayal. And ask yourself, sometimes we need to ask ourselves, which area of my life potentially I'm betraying myself? Even even eating food is actually not healthy for you. It's self betrayal because that's or not sleeping well as self betrayal because this other day you will not be as energized as you could be and it will slow you down. I will not be able to move as fast as you could. So when you really said it, okay, should I go to watch a movie or should I go sleep? Watching a movie is self-betrayal. Going to sleep and get ready for tomorrow is what is going back to the basics. So that means that the first one is that self-betrayal is that, as I already mentioned, doing the right thing no matter how it makes you feel. And that means it might be that it will be very uncomfortable, but it's the right thing for you. Number two, control your emotional reactivity. Emotion regulation is always 10 of the 10 of importance in life. 10 of the 10 always is emotion regulation and controlling emotional reactivity. And then asking where that reactivity is coming from and being able to get more peace, stillness within yourself. Sometimes it's required spiritual journey, sometimes it requires meditation, sometimes and most importantly, being able to face your demons, because when you face your demons, there's nothing that really triggers you. I love the saying that everyone is carrying a cup. In that cup could be a coffee, it could be like, not literally, but like coffee, there's a lot of mix of things. It could be water, it could be nothing. And if you face your demons, that means you remove that coffee and put some water. And sometimes it could be just goodness and there's nothing in that cup. So being able to really control your anger, loneliness, insecurity, shame, all those things so we really know that we're in control of our emotional state. And when we're in control of our emotional state, it means we're able to do the things that is necessary on that location and not wait for some kind of motivation. Number three, practice alignment between words and actions. And I've heard that saying that is you need to improve your say do ratio. So how many times you said if you'll do something and promise something, commit something, and you not do something what you promised. And again, this is destroying your confidence, courage, trust. Everything is destroyed because our mind, our identity doesn't believe that we will do what we say we'll do because we don't do that. So the more we have that alignment between with the words and actions, everything again improves. We trust that when we said something that we'll do, we will do. And believe within yourself is skyrocketing. And this is one of the most important basic things, but foundational things. Say do ratio. If you said something, it must be done. Otherwise, will be destroyed. Of course, sometimes there is always, maybe you committed to something that was total nonsense, and then ask yourself where that committing to nonsense came from. Where decision, where those decisions are coming from that I'm making and committed. Maybe I'm saying yes to the things I'm supposed to not to. Maybe that's the first step, saying no, learning to say no. So when you say no to more things, now you're finally able to say yes to the things that you're actually able to do. Number four, choose repetition over intensity. And for me, I always love the standard analogy. That means that there's two standards. One is very high standards and there's a low standard. So one is a high standards when you perform at your best, at your intensity level. And the other one is your standard when you are able to perform no matter what's going on in life. And that means we need to raise that a little bit, that lower standard, but to be able to pursue always a standard. And this is my basic minimal viable standard. And where I perform every day repetitionally over day after day after day, because people who has extremely high intensity standard a lot of times quit altogether. And I always love the saying that from it's easier to go from 1 to 20 than from 0 to 1. It's easier to go from 1 to 20 than from 0 to 1. And that person who achieved massive intensity goes back to 0, and then they need to put so much intensity just to get to number 1. But now if you perform at that lower standard all day long, every single day, you are at least at 1, and you're able to move to 20 extremely fast. Number 5, understand what emotion makes you understand what emotions make you abandon your values. And it is partially understanding again what is your emotional base right now. Becoming emotional friendly. I really love that learning that I learned this year that you can be not emotional, but you're able to be emotion friendly. So that means understanding your emotions, this fear, loneliness, jealousy, or where it's coming from, and what do you do with those emotions? Again, this is part of facing your demons. Understanding, okay, what kind of emotions and what they are trying me to do. And sometimes being able to really understand yourself fully and not allowing those emotions to control you. Because sometimes, because our emotions are so vivid, so strong, could potentially sabotage our own values. And that is not a great place to be in. Because sometimes even a person who actually values respect, but now he feels lonely, and because he's lonely, will stay in a relationship longer than it's supposed to be because in relationship he gets this respect, but because he feels lonely, he doesn't want to leave this relationship. And that means this is again sabotage of yourself, and that is not the right thing to do. Number 6, stop tolerating behaviors that weaken you. And it's interesting, there's so many things that weaken us. Again, I already mentioned there's a lot of things are very, very intertwined. The things that are weakness, all the avoidance. And I think that procrastination is actually avoidance and the fear of the things that and I think that sometimes labeling the problem is the issue. Sometimes thinking that procrastinate if you're actually fearful. And when I think about weaken you, so that means that even toxic relations weaken us. Even sleep that I mentioned, that if you have a choice to go to sleep, to eat a nap, eat a snack, or go to sleep, and sometimes we go to after snack, we go after a movie, we go after scrolling, and then we wake up not energized, and then we drink coffee in the morning because we feel sleepy. I think this is again behavior that weakens us, and then asking and that's why I truly believe that just every single person needs to do audit of their behaviors, audit of their actions, audit of their whole week activities they do, so they can look into what behaviors could potentially weaken me. Every single activity needs to be written down so we can know exactly what activities weaken me, what activities is neutral, and what activities are uplifting me. And of course, the more you have uplifting activities, the better. And last one, number 7, build systems instead relying on motivation. I really love the saying that I learned first time from John C. Maxwell that you don't fall on your goals, you fall on your systems. It might be that you achieved your goal, but you achieved your goal only because he had system to achieve that goal. Because when we under pressure, we go for and fall back on defaults because we are not thinking. Our cognitive is thinking about all the storm that came into our life, and we don't have a lot of capacity. That we don't have a willpower, we don't have thinking power, we don't have any motivation. So at that moment, we do not have any motivation or no thinking, nothing left in our tank. At that moment, we do what we learn to do by default without thinking. So that's why a system in our life, a system that you know that you do repeatedly day after day towards your goal will be wondrous. That's why people who really build systems, they achieve success no matter what's going in their life. Even they could go through massive adversity, but they achieve success because they had systems. A person who never had system, they will be up and down because they have good good systems. They have good tasks, good pushing, good intensity towards their goals, but they didn't have systems. They just were on the go, and then a storm comes, and then everything goes out of the window. So having systems rather than relying on motivation is extremely important. And rather than gathering motivation and looking for motivation videos, maybe it's time to really look for system building videos where you actually, and system building videos might be very boring at the moment. There's no dopamine or nothing, but they could be essential to really build an important life. So today I said that today is a basic day to really go back to the basics, and those are extremely important topics. And every single topic could we could stay for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, even more. But just I wanted to touch the most important topics today that we could reflect day by day on the things that matter. So I hope you choose in and see you tomorrow.